Welcome to another powerful interview. I have two special guests, two amazing special guests here as a part of Women's Spirit Festival
Put you
interviews.
down.
And
Put you down.
I think that's an emotional therapy. Like animals are truly, they help us with how we feel. And Shelley and I were just talking behind the scenes, everyone. 1 in 5 people will face mental health challenges. Is that what the statistic was, Shelley?
Yeah. Every year, there's one person in five will have a mental illness.
Wow. And so just think about all of you, think about everybody you know. For sure, somebody who you know is facing this. Somebody who you know is having challenges and difficulties. And if you know somebody who's faced mental health challenges or you yourself have, let's just put me too in the comments down below right now. Put me too in the comments because part of having the conversation is breaking through the idea that it only happens to some people and that we shouldn't talk about it. But the work that you do, Shelley, really brings it forward. So I am so honored to have you as my guest today.
Well, I'm very excited to be here.
Well, let me tell everybody if you don't know Shelley, she is like heart and joy, and she just had her puppy on, who's not a puppy, he's 11. She just had him on, but she is an incredible woman. She's an international speaker, soul coach, soul realignment practitioner, and Akashic guide. And after overcoming depression herself, she now guides people around the world to reconnect to their authentic selves through the Akashic Records. And I think this is so unique, Shelley, that you bring the healing of depression, especially for women, and use the Akashic Records to really bring that forward, to infuse it, to help and heal that process. So I think this is fascinating. In your own words, tell us more about like how you and the work that you currently do.
Well, like I had just said in my bio, I actually have lived with depression for probably 40 years, if not more. And it's been a journey. And I went on a, s- a spiritual journey trying to find a solution. And that was what inspired me to want to help other women not have to go through the same thing because you say, oh, you're depressed, just, get over it, smile, put a happy face on and walk out the door. Depression is not like that. It is really debilitating. There are days when you can't get out of bed. There's days when, your big joy in the day was walking from the bed to the couch to lay there instead of in the bed. So it's rampant out there, and I'm thinking it's probably getting worse with the situations going on all around the world and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, so it's important to talk about, and so I like to help women. I usually get like 45 plus because they're usually at that age where, if they aren't suffering from depression, they may be feeling lost in their life because their lives are changing right about then. Like if they've got kids that have now grown up, gone to university, and they kind of feel like, I was a mom, now what? Or they've climbed that career ladder and gotten right to that spot where there's like, this is where I wanted to be. And they get there and go, this isn't what I expected it to be. And so I want to help people find who they are authentically because most of us have no idea who we are at soul level. And so my whole passion is helping guide women who are feeling that way to find out who they are at soul level and then learn to take actions that align with them so that they can live lives filled with purpose and joy and fulfillment
Mm.
because existing is not fun.
Yeah, just barely existing or just
Yeah,
getting by is not fun. I love that
yeah,
question, like who we are at soul level.
yeah,
Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Like, what does it mean to dive in that soul level? Because when we've been through a journey,
yeah,
struggling with depression, or many women struggle with anxiety, burnout, overwhelm,
yeah,
like all on that spectrum, what
yeah.
does it mean on to figure out who we are at soul level?
Um, well, you may or may not know that your soul has a blueprint, and
Mm.
your soul comes with one, but it's still at the fifth dimension, so we don't connect with it. And so the soul's going, oh, here's your path you should be taking. And you're going, la di da, I'm off over here, and then I'm back over here. And it's like, oh, society says, do this. This will work for everybody. And it works for about 2% of the people.
Yeah.
So we do have a blueprint. And so when you can tune into that, or when you can get more connected to your soul, and for myself, like that was, I think that was, no, I know that was the root of my depression was I was totally disconnected from who I was. I had no idea, like I was so lost. And when I understood who I was as a soul, things just went like click into place, like, oh, that makes sense why I made these choices. And that's why the way I am and my family kind of looks at me like, you're weird.
I
so,
know what that's like.
so, so really understanding. And that's a lot of it. Well, I mean, I use your soul blueprint is actually in your Akashic record. So that's what I specialize in is going into your Akashic record, getting your soul blueprint and helping you heal because we've made choices. I'm just jumping right into Akashic
Yes,
records here.
please. I was going to say, and we're going to go into Akashic Records next. So, like, just keep going.
Yeah.
And, ladies, if you're watching this and you're like, oh, you can feel your soul calling you to this, just write soul in the comments down below. Write soul. Cash, tell us about the Akashic Records. And you just mentioned Soul Blueprint. And
Yeah.
when we understand ourselves, it leads us towards healing. So, what are the Akashic Records?
The Akashic records are an energetic record of every choice your soul has been involved with throughout all lifetimes.
Wow.
So it's there, and you have access to your Akashic record. Like all of us can access our own Akashic record. Some people make it look, oh, it's really complicated, and you can't do much. And sorry, my little boy's decided he wants down. There you go, good
He's
boy.
going to come up and down during the interview
Yeah,
just to make sure he's involved.
hopefully not. So, but it's it's but when you go into your Akashic record, you need to have an intention. Like, why are you going into your record? Because a
Mm,
lot of people, it's like, ooh, that would be really neat to know everything I've ever done and who I've been and whatever. But if you're going in from a sense of, oh, I'm just curious, all you're going to get back is more curiosity because they respond to the energy of your reason for going in.
wow.
So everything is intention based. There, it's at the fifth dimension where your soul resides or starts, and it's kind of also like similar to like Google. If you go to Google, like you can search everything, but if you just put the word "the" in, it's not
Everything's
really
going to come up.
helpful. Yeah.
It's not
And so if you
helpful.
go into a record with the same thing, it's like I don't really know what I'm searching for. I want to know, oh, maybe what kind of life did I have? And it's like whatever kind of life you want. And so there are guidelines, and that's what I learned with my soul realignment sessions, and that's
Mm.
or my soul realignment practicing, and
That's
that's
where people
where it's
can
centered.
come to you and
Yeah,
actually get, it's one thing to like for somebody to look at something, but it's
yeah.
another to fully understand it with somebody who is an expert and a guide in that. What's been
Yes,
your
yeah.
personal experience of the Akashic Records? How have they helped you? So, what have you been through? Tell us a little bit more about your journey and how the
Um,
Akashic Records have helped you.
sure. The Akashic records have been wonderful because they have a very healing energy in them as well. There's also no linear time in the records. So you can go back to, 20 lifetimes ago. And it's like, oh, I did that yesterday kind of thing. So you've got the connection between what you've done in a past life and why you're still making same choices based on that,
Yeah.
lifetimes later. For myself, like I said, when I found out who I was at soul level, how I'm supposed to plug into creative source energy, which is what we use to create our lives. Um, it's that just made things make sense
Yeah.
because, um, well, I'm a visual learner.
Yeah.
I never realized that I am, visual. Being visual is very much part of who I am. I'm much more comfortable speaking on camera than doing a post
Yes.
or something because it's more in line with who I
And it's
am.
present, it's in the moment.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that I use the records for myself, and I've done the training on myself, and I've also gone through immersive and integration parts. And it was really interesting to realize that in past lives, I took on the responsibility for the family And in a couple of lives, it's like I just felt responsible for everything, whether I was responsible or not. I just put that on me. And
Yeah.
in this lifetime, I do the same thing.
Yeah.
So what really helped was kind of going back and seeing like when I made that decision to make the choice to be responsible for everything, how could I have made a different action? And if I or make it made a different decision, and then how would that have affected my life? And
Wow.
then I can bring that feeling into now. It's like, oh yeah, right. I don't have to be, I don't have to make that choice. I'm not responsible for everything. I want that other energy that if I made that different decision, then I would have had a different life.
Right. And
And
then
that's
make
been
decisions
really,
moving forward to make
yeah,
change happen. That is so
yeah.
powerful. I wonder if any other women watching and listening have that same thing. Like they take responsibility. Put R in the comments right now if you're somebody who takes responsibility for things that aren't yours or for other people and tries to do things for other people. Put R in the comments, and I bet you we'll find a lot of women here who do
I'm
that
betting so.
same
Yeah,
thing. Yeah,
yeah.
this is really important. Now, Shelley, you've been through a personal journey with depression.
Mhm.
Tell us about like tell us about your challenge there.
One of the biggest challenge is just not being able to function in a normal world.
Mm,
Like there were, I really hate to say, like I think I've been off work 4 times, and one of them was for almost 3 years from the depression.
yeah,
And um, it was, it, it was, it was just debilitating. And my mind, part of me is like all or nothing, and it's like it's A or it's Z. There's nothing in between there,
yeah,
or black or white, whatever. There's nothing. But there were times where like I didn't even want to go out, and I was living in Ottawa, which is a fairly large city, and I knew nobody. But it's like if I go out during the day, people are going to look at me and go, "Well, why isn't she at work? Oh, she must be on, welfare or something." And so she's just sucking up, money. Like she should get
Oh,
a
it
job.
kept you isolated.
Yeah, yeah, it did.
Yeah,
So it was hard to go out,
yeah,
and having a dog was a blessing. I did get one finally,
yeah,
but because I at least had to take the dog out for a walk
right?
and that. So, but it's isolating. It's not wanting to eat, and I mean it's different for everybody. That's the thing.
Yeah,
Because like some people eat a lot, some people don't eat anything,
yeah.
most people don't have any energy.
Yeah.
Um,
And then
it's
they isolate more and it's a
Yeah,
cycle and it's
yeah. I mean, you don't want to talk to anybody,
no.
but you're lonely, but you don't want to, you want people to call because you want them to be not so much worried, but you want them to at least, kind of check in to see, are you doing okay?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you don't want to answer the phone and talk to them because it's just too much energy to actually carry on a conversation and try to fake being happy so they don't know how bad off you are.
Yeah.
And
Shelley, thank you so much for sharing this
yeah,
with us. Just if you, any of you watching or listening have felt this or experienced this, put me too in the comments. I've gone through times in my life where I've been really low, and I know that feeling of not wanting to connect, not wanting to answer the phone, not wanting to leave the house. Like I know what that's like as well personally, and it's
yeah.
really hard. And it's a loop of like then you isolate, and don't go out, and don't take care of yourself, and it's just like this spiral. What did you do to get to the point now that you're an international speaker and an Akashic guide? Like what were some of the things that you did to bring yourself up and out?
Well, firstly, I did do traditional medicine. I went on probably almost every antidepressant out there.
Yeah.
Um, and the side effects of those are just as bad as depression at times. So, like, but finding one was just really frustrating, or finding a combination that worked.
Yeah.
So that was a long process. I did the counseling, group counseling, individual counseling, mood disorder group. So I was doing everything that they were saying to do. And I will say, like, yes, it helped. I got to a point where I could function in the world. I could get out of bed, I could go to work, but I just felt blah. Like it was just like, I'm existing. Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
And I finally realized that I needed to do something to change because there was something missing in the whole treatment that I was getting.
Yeah.
And intuitively, I think I knew it was something spiritual, although I started religion first, trying to go like, let me try different religions, check out different churches, see if there's something that speaks to me.
So this
But
really
nothing
sent you on
had,
a
yeah,
journey of searching.
yeah, yeah. And it was just digging into what I could think of. And so I happened to be a reader. So I was like, okay, self-help books, personal development books, how to, books on training your intuition or becoming intuitive. And I kind of joked that I was actually drawn to psychics because I really wanted a psychic to be able to tell me that my life would get better and it was worth, holding on. But
Yeah.
I never found one.
Yeah.
But that led me down into the metaphysical, working with oracle cards, tarot cards, which led me to finding soul coaching, which was like, oh, I want to coach. And I knew I wanted to coach women. That was still there, thinking, I don't want other people to go through this.
Yeah.
But basically, it was just trying different things until I found what worked. And it really was the Akashic Records that pushed me over the, that ceiling that was there.
Oh, that's
Other
great.
stuff worked. It helped. It kept me, going up and down. But it was really the Akashic Records.
And I love that you say that you want to help other women. Like you have, it's basically you've done a PhD in mental health through your own journey of
Yeah,
living with this and working your way through it and trying everything, studying everything. So you actually have an incredible wealth of wisdom to offer wisdom and women because you've walked the path. And I
yeah.
think that's one of the most important things. Can you speak to that a little bit?
It is very important because you're going to see psychiatrists and you kind of look at them and they look at you and go, so tell me what's going on. You're kind of like, have you ever
Have
been
they,
depressed? Like, do you
yeah,
have any
have they
idea? And it's
actually
like,
felt what it's
yeah,
like?
yeah. Or, and I still remember being forced by disability insurance to go to a specific group of people, sort of thing. And I walk in and I sit down, and the girl across from me is like, she's so put together. She's got her hair all done. She's got nice long nails. The makeup's fine. I'm just like, yeah, your life is perfect. Like, what do you know about this? And
Yeah.
that was my reaction. So you really, you almost put up that block, like you have no idea what I'm going through. So why am I talking to you?
Yeah.
You
We
know,
need people
and
who have actually walked the same paths as us,
yeah,
who we
and
know can guide us.
right. Well, and everybody's journey is different because we all react to depression differently.
Yeah.
But there's still, I think, the same underlying things if we understand who we are as a soul. That gives us a starting point, something to look for, to hang on to and go, okay, if I start taking actions that are aligned with who I showed up to be, maybe that'll help me because a lot of the stuff isn't what, society says. Like, you go out, get a job, 9 to 5, work for somebody else, and well, in times past when I was growing up, it's like you have one job and you stay at the job your whole life, and
Yeah.
there's loyalty and everything, and that's it. And I'm not built that way. I change jobs every 18 to 24 months.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and and
I
in my
wonder if
family, I
anybody
get
here
it.
can relate to that
Yeah.
being a multi-passionate. Put multi in the comments. Multi-passionate, and like we do different things and we're
Yeah.
drawn to that. I like that.
But society's going, why are you changing jobs all the time? And employers are like, well, how can you change jobs? You've had like, oh, 6 jobs in the last 12 years. Like, what's with that? And it's like, well, I'm bored. No.
I like to explore and to learn,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
multi-passionate. And I think that the world is different than it was 50 years
Yeah.
ago, and our parents and grandparents were like, you get a job and that is it.
Yeah.
You get that career. And now we're like, hey, I can do so many different things in my lifetime.
Yeah. Which
We don't
is,
fit
which is
into the
great.
mold. You've mentioned that a couple times, like society. We don't fit
Yeah.
into that mold.
No, no. And maybe it's changing. I'm not sure. Sometimes I think it's going backwards, but but we are, everyone's unique, like, and so my experience of depression isn't exactly the same as somebody else's,
Yeah.
but there's enough similarities that I can relate. And actually, having been in groups, depression, basically mood disorder groups, and everybody's depressed or has anxiety, sort of thing. I also have that experience of interacting with others who are doing this, kind of doing their own journey through it.
Yeah.
And it's important. It's so important to actually talk about it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I've decided I have to do. I want to be an advocate for mental health because there's just too much of it, and people still feel like it's shameful and I can't speak up.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you're standing for this and being an advocate. If you want to join Shelley in being an advocate, everybody put advocate in the comments right now, because the shame in the silence is what keeps it going. And I think, let me know what you think about this. In the last 5 or 6 years, kind of since like world shut down, people like and more trauma, more wars, more it's just like there's been a lot going on the planet. Are you noticing an increase of isolation and mental health disorders because of the times we're in? Is it the same as it's always been? What do you notice?
I personally think it's getting worse.
Yeah.
And part of it is that, like, even with traditional jobs now, a lot of it is done by, oh, you can, come into the office one day a week or once a month, and the rest of the time you're at home. You can work from home, which is nice, but it also isolates you more.
Mhm.
That, again, you're by yourself all day. And yes, you might be interacting over Teams or Zoom or something, which is great, but it's still not quite that same as having somebody sitting next to you and can yell over the the cubicle wall and go, "Hey, can you do me a favor?"
Right? Yeah, we need that human interaction. It's
Yeah,
really what makes us human.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
think too, there's just a lot more stress, and stress is a major cause of depression. Stress, I think, is actually the number one killer from what I have read, like,
Yeah.
because it underlines so many things.
Yeah.
But
That makes a lot of sense with my background of workaholism and like just being
yeah,
like always stressed. I had suffered from massive adrenal burnout, and it was that stress that just led me on
yeah,
that downward spiral. So
yeah,
what you just said makes a lot of sense personally. Yeah, I hear you
yeah,
on that. So what
yeah.
would you say to anybody, any of the women here watching who maybe they're having a challenging time? They're able to join us here online because there's no like no time thing that they have to be here for. Or maybe they're just feeling a little overwhelmed or stressed at points. Like, what would you say are your best tips for a woman to do if she's feeling that stress, feeling the isolation, maybe feeling depression? What could she do on a daily basis that is going to feel nourishing and good and start to help her come up?
The first thing that I really think of is, I want to say meditation, but it doesn't have to be meditation, just kind of checking in with yourself. And even before you get out of bed, just check in with, how am I feeling? Do I
Mhm.
feel like, do I feel like I can get up and face the world today? Or am I kind of feeling like it's going to be a rough day?
Yeah.
And don't judge it. And don't go, because I mean, it was like, oh crap, it's going to be another crappy day.
Yeah.
It doesn't help. So it's just kind of, okay, I may have a bad day today, but you know what? I've got that warning. I've got that sense that it might be bad, but hey, maybe it won't be as bad as I expect.
Right?
And
Just
I know
self-awareness.
that's, yeah, but it's really tough when you are depressed because you generally focus on the downside. It's very hard to say, like, oh, yeah, but it might be better. But if you can do that, but just check in with yourself, or if you can, just spend a couple minutes sitting in silence, just letting your thoughts go past. Don't worry about trying to chase them or really pay attention to them. It's just like breathing, focus on your breath.
Yeah.
Is huge. One other thing that I have found really helpful, which I swore I would never tell anybody,
Oh, we're
is
finding out the secrets, everybody.
I actually have a personal coach who does yoga as well, and she's got me doing some yoga. And it's like, oh, I do like yoga. I have spent years going, I dislike yoga. I don't like it at all, but it's actually very, um, I want to say it's very stress relieving,
It
but
is.
it's also, you've got that, there's a meditative component to it.
Yeah.
That and Qigong.
Yeah.
Neither of them are, well, yoga's more physical than Qigong, but it's like, there's that a flow, but it's a gentle flow. It's not like you're out running, but if you like running, go run.
Yeah.
But just doing something that gets you moving, because it does give you energy. And I have fought up against that for years. It's like,
And you,
I'm too tired to get off the couch.
yeah.
But
And
really,
it
if you
gives you
can,
energy. Like you
it
feel like
does.
I'm so tired. There's no way. And then you do something and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, I actually have more energy because I moved.
Yeah.
And then that sort of builds on itself. So I love
Yeah.
this. So
Yeah.
self-awareness, meditation, breathing and
Yeah.
some kind of movement that feels
Yeah.
good. I love that you revealed that about yoga. I used to be a yoga teacher, you know this, but there were many
Yeah.
years that I didn't touch it, that I was
Yeah.
like, done with it. I don't need it, don't
Yeah.
want it. I was doing other
Mhm.
forms of movement.
Yeah.
But lately, my body needs something more gentle. So it's
Yeah.
like coming back to those gentle
Yeah.
stretches that infuse kind of like just while you're doing them, there's awareness at the
Yeah.
same time. So that's why it works. That's nice. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Really
it
cool.
surprised me because I had done yoga before and I've just, well, I was always like, oh, am I doing it right? The teacher's not saying anything, but I think, what if I'm out of alignment? What if I'm going to tweak my back? And so it's
Yeah.
just like, yeah, this is not
And then that's what
relaxing at
yoga
all.
teaches us is
Yeah.
how busy our brains are while we're
Yeah.
there. Trying to like all the comparison and everything. It's just like bonkers. Oh, can I tell everybody one of my best tips for
Yes.
mental health? I just started doing it 2 months ago. I mean, I get out, I love being outside. I'm like, I really enjoy nature. I like walking, but the winter was hard and I was inside a lot. And then I got sick and I was inside for like 6 weeks. Like I barely went outside. And what I noticed was just my mood. I felt like I was like, I would describe it as my mental health. It's just
Yeah.
like not in a good place. And it's like dark winter, Canada, everybody's so cold.
Oh,
And I was doing some reading and I was reminded that getting outside and
yeah.
getting daylight into your eyes, you don't have to stare at the sun. It's not that crazy, but just daylight on your eyes. You can even be wearing a hat, it doesn't matter. It does something for serotonin
Right.
and it sets the circadian rhythms for the day. So I've been doing this every morning for the last 7 weeks now. It's been almost 2 months. And just yesterday or the day before, I was like, oh, this habit is like I get outside and I just walk. Doesn't matter how I feel. If I'm like, I'm tired, I don't want to do it. I just go, I get outside first thing in the morning, something I would have never have done before. I usually walk later. But I've really found that it shifts my mood. Get like
That
that
makes,
morning light
yeah.
on my eyeballs. There's science behind it. It's kind of weird, but very cool.
Yeah. And I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. And also being out in nature,
Yeah.
even if I know some people go, I don't like nature. And yeah,
Right. Even
I-
just getting out in your neighborhood and walking down the
yeah,
street. Yeah.
hugging a tree. Yeah, it's so funny. I'm dragging my dog, who's a very little, thank you. It's just like, okay, you go pee over there, and I'm going to go hug the tree.
Oh, I love that. And then there's
But it
like research
grounds
on it.
you.
It grounds us, right?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And they also have beautiful energy. And it's interesting because if you can feel the energy, not all trees feel the same.
No.
And there's interesting times because it'll be like, no, this tree doesn't want me to hug it, so I'll find a different tree.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So pay
It's
attention.
fascinating to pay
Yeah.
attention to nature and then animals. And
Yeah.
there's so much, everybody. You all got to work with Shelley. She's got like a toolbox full of incredibleness and weaving in the power of the
Yeah.
Akashic Records in your mental health, your emotional health, everybody, your spiritual health. Like this is really, really powerful. So, Shelley, you've got some talks that are happening as part of Women's Spirit Festival. Why don't you just briefly touch on what everybody can expect to gain from watching those?
Well, I've got three talks in there and that I'm doing. And the first one is on, it's called Overcome Depression, the Missing Piece, which was basically, my whole story, my journey trying to find what's missing in all the treatment that, was being given to everyone. The second one is called Overcome Depression, Finding Yourself, because that's key too. That's one of the first things you need to do is understand who I am.
Yeah.
Um, just one of the things I did was I, I basically say that I was playing 15 characters in my life and none of them were me.
Mm, yeah.
So I had no idea who I was.
Yeah. Figure that
And
out.
yeah, and it's important because if we don't know who we are, we don't know what we want.
Oh,
And then the final one is Overcome Depression, A Journey to the Akashic Field. And
beautiful.
the Akashic Field is actually slightly different from the records. It's I would liken it to like the common room of an apartment building or a condo or something. It's like everybody can go into the common room, but they can't go into your apartment. So
Right.
your records are secured. You can get in, but others can't without your permission. But that general area, you can go in. And so we go to the Akashic Field and do an actual journey so you can meet your soul.
Oh, beautiful.
I think it's your soul that we're meeting. I forget what I did.
So everybody, you just got to go and watch Shelley's three-part series because you can dive in deeper with her, get to know her more, and get more of her wisdom and her tips in that three-part series. It's all happening here inside Women's Spirit Festival. You know what to do. Go to the little magnifying glass. It's up at the top of this group somewhere. It's a little magnifying glass, and you can just type in Shelley Kitching, press enter, and her videos will come up. That's one way to find those videos. Another way is just like scroll down the magical wall of talks that are happening here. These are potent soul talks that these women are doing. They're delivering transmissions and teachings, all completely free for all of you. So make sure that you connect with Shelley. And another thing that you can do is actually like click her name right here in this video in this post and send her a message, a friend request and a message and follow her so you can connect personally with Shelley. And that's one of the things that I love about this because sometimes we need just to be able to reach out to somebody and say, "Hey, I think I've struggled with what you've struggled with. Maybe we could
Yeah,
have a conversation." And that starts to heal us.
yeah,
Yeah,
thanks.
beautiful. Shelley, you have a gift as well. Want to tell us about that?
I do. I have a self-assessment tool, which gets you thinking about, what do I really want? And what really, like, because if you want to change your life, if you're not happy with your life, then you have to take action to change it. Nobody else can change your life for you. It's
Mm.
much easier if we think that, but it's not true. So if you don't know what you want, then you're never going to change. So this helps you to get clarity on what you want, what really matters to you.
Yeah.
And so that's the whole purpose of the tool is to get clarity on what you want, who you are, and what steps you've been taking that are holding you back from getting there.
That's
So
beautiful. And when we get
yeah,
clear, we can start to move forward. So, ladies, you definitely need this gift. What's the magic word people should put in the comments?
clarity.
Clear. So put clarity right now. Everybody write clarity right now so that you can get clarity and move forward. Put the word clarity in the comments. Shelley will contact you and get you that resource personally. So that's what's so sweet about this. So put clarity in the comments right now. Clarity is the word. Clarity. Do it now. Do it now. I love this. And Shelley, as we start to move towards wrapping up, any ideas or tips or anything else you want to share with the ladies that I haven't asked you yet?
It's never too late to change your life. You know, I'm in my 60s. I'm, still working on changing my life. And we're going to be changing our lives right up until the end. But so don't think, oh, well, the best years are done. They're not.
Oh,
And keep holding on. It's
mm.
a journey. It's just a journey.
Aw, thank you for that. It's never too late to change your life. Somebody write that in the chat. And I've just turned 50 last year. And I know that there have been times where it's been challenging, where like going from perimenopause into menopause, turning 50, where I've been like, life is over, that's it, it's done. And I say that kind of joking right now, but there have been times when it's been really dark. So to hear you say it's never too late, like you're in your 60s, you're like a big sister who's pa paving the way and saying like we can do this. It's never too late. Let's go. That makes me really happy. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, thank you. This is really
Thank you.
sweet. So, thank you for being part of Women's Spirit Festival and for taking part in this interview.
Oh, thank you so much, Elizabeth. It's been my pleasure. And this event is so amazing. You got to check out the other speakers too.
Yeah. The
It's
sisterhood,
just,
the community, all the speakers, it's just
yeah,
incredible. Yeah.
yeah. So
All
thank
right. Well, final words of inspiration for our audience.
keep putting one foot in front of the other and find out who you are. Get clarity.
Clarity. Put one foot in front of the other. Clarity, everybody. Shelley, thank you again. And to all of you who've taken part in Women's Spirit Festival so far, you're watching. Thank you all for being the best part of Women's Spirit Festival. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.
Bye.